Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. We are back with the Urban Healer, our friend Timea Urban, joining us once again for another fantastic show, as always. How is it doing up there in Canada, or you'll say down there in the States?
It's good. Actually, it's getting a little bit warmer. Today was more like rain than snow,
Yeah.
which is super exciting because it's starting to get brighter in the morning. So I see it. It's coming. Spring. It's coming. Please. Yeah.
I
think
feel
so.
it. Yes, I feel it. Yeah, we do this Groundhog Day thing in the States. Do you do that in Canada too?
We do. I don't really follow it though. I think it's more of an American thing.
I think so too. It sees a shadow more winter. I get confused myself. But anyway, pleasure to have you here, sweetheart. Again, the Urban Healer. Would you mind introducing a little bit about what you do and all your energy healing modalities and coaching and everything?
All the things. All right. So my name is Timea Urban, the Urban Healer. I'm based out of Toronto, but my business is fully virtual. So I do have international clients. I started off as a nurse. I am technically still a nurse. But since then I've transitioned into other modalities. So it started off with doing meditations, teaching yoga, becoming a Reiki master, and now I'm a life coach and I specialize in energy medicine. I mainly work with women and working through past traumas, limiting beliefs, just so they can step into their most empowered selves and live a life filled with joy.
Perfect. I know today we want to talk a little about how to awaken our joy. How can we do this?
Okay, so this is actually something that was inspired out of what I see most of my clients for. People come with, I'm not happy at work. I don't like how my finances are looking. I'm wishing I had a different partner, or I don't have a partner. I wish my relationships were different. And I've kind of started thinking about what is keeping you from joy. And I've created a little bit of a program out of it. So I just want to dive in through kind of like dissecting it, see if any of these things resonate for you, you as in you or the listeners, and see how I can get a little more joy into your life. So first things first, where are you and how is your home? Like, does it feel cluttered? Does it feel good? I know I get anxious if my home feels cluttered, which feels like it's all the time because my dog will literally take out every single one of her toys every single morning. And it's like, I have a toddler and I love her, but Lord help me. I was just like, put your toys away. Oh, she's not listening. Cool. So that being said, physical clutter can actually make you feel anxious and take away joy. So when things feel too full, it's going to feel overwhelming and it brings your energy down. It's like when you walk into a freshly cleaned house, like you feel good because it's like everything's where it needs to be. Everything's clean and sparkly, and that feels really good in your body. So always make sure that your space, especially where you sleep and where you work, are super decluttered and clear because it's going to feel more expansive and allow energy to move with more ease.
This is my biggest problem. We talked a little bit about it, but I have piles around the house everywhere. And plus you mentioned having like a dog, but the kids with the toys, the dining room is a toy room. And that toy room I have not touched since November. I had to give up. I can't. It's piled with bins and toys, but I just need the time to go through it, donate, to clean. I can't keep my bedroom straight. I can't keep my bill pile, my kids' piles, the laundry, everything's piling up. And all I get, my sister thinks I'm a whiner, but I'm like, I just need time. I can't.
But start with one thing. If you look at your entire house, like you're gonna have an anxiety attack and be like, hell's no, where's the wine? But if you're like one drawer, one chunk of that table, I used to have that too. And I used to like hide things underneath the table, but I could still see it.
Under my bed. I have all the magazines that I haven't gone through from the mail and they're piled up under the bed. But I did do my bill pile partially 2 weeks ago, but now it's stacking up again.
That's okay. That's okay. It's all good. We'll work through it a little bit by bit.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I acknowledge you and I feel you. Trust me. It's like a constant declutter journey, always.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I'm going to talk about is draining or toxic relationships. So we all have people in our life that like you finish an interaction with them and then you have like a headache, you feel like crap and you're like, why do I see you? And it can even be people that like, I love you and you don't actually do anything wrong, but it's like you don't get anything out of that relationship. Mm-hmm. And this is tricky because it's like you might have known them for like 10 years or maybe they're family. So you feel like obligated, but it just doesn't fill your cup in any sort of way. So it's like, be mindful of who you spend time with because we all have about this much time, which is very little. And you want to spend it with people that you actually want to spend it with. Or it's like you might as well just spend some time alone decluttering or taking a nap because it might serve you more. So that being said, be mindful that you are usually the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So it's like Where are they in life? Are they single, bitter, complaining? Are they miserable at their job and that's all they complain about? Are they the type of people who are like, I'm just going to drink and I'm not going to exercise. I'm not going to be careful what I eat because I don't care. And they're just kind of like negative Nancy's.
Yeah.
And even if you're not that person, you're going to start feeling that. And it's like, I noticed that when I was spending a lot of time with some of my girlfriends who are a little bit on the bitter single side, men are like this, men are like that. I started viewing it like that. And I was accepting that as like a truth, which is not true. I'm trying to pull myself away from that just to keep myself open to meeting the right person, because otherwise energetically it's not aligned. So be mindful, because you don't want to absorb their energy and their belief systems, and know that you owe no one anything. So if they don't actually serve you, use COVID as an excuse and just put that friendship on the back burner while you focus on yourself.
Got it. Good to know. All right. Thank you. Because I'm
Okay.
feeling burnt out in all different areas. And I think the cluttering, go back to that. I'm sorry. It's just got me down. Maybe that's part of why I'm not getting better. Seriously. I just feel that's draining and toxic. I did get out a toxic guy last year. So that was draining me. I can relate and empathize with that. And
Totally.
boy, oh boy, I felt so much better. And today I feel so much better about, knowing when you're in something that wasn't right, but you stay for the wrong reasons of just habit.
Okay. We've
And
all done
then,
it.
the light and the feeling of, I remember last spring, it was like,
Peace
felt
out.
good. Yeah, that felt
Yeah.
good. And
Nope,
that
for
could
sure.
definitely, yeah. All right. All right. So, but again, it all comes down to self-worth as well. And we have to feel, sometimes we're not ready to feel good about ourselves. And could you talk about how that puts a play
Absolutely.
into things?
So how do you measure your self-worth? And it's like, we don't ever think about that, Christian, but then it's like, if you actually do, is it have to do with what is on the scale? What size are your pants? Or what size is your bra? Like, is that how you're going to like measure how beautiful you are or worthy you are? Or is it like, how many followers do you have? How many likes did you get? Did people comment on a picture that you posted somewhere? Is it because your house is big? Oh, I wish my house was bigger, then I would be better. That doesn't, like, none of that actually makes
No.
sense. And we get really fixated on labels and numbers. And it almost like prevents us from feeling joy for what we have. And then you're constantly striving for something bigger and more that's outside of you. And chances are, if you're someone that's fixated on like the size on the scale, even if you lost that 10 pounds, you're still going to feel like crap. And you're going to be like, well, 5 more. If it's 5 more, I'll get to the thing and I'll actually feel good. But it never has to do with any of those things. So it's just like,
No.
no, joy doesn't come from that. So joy comes from within. And if you are like, you know what? Yeah, I got a little curvier. Hey, COVID curves, whatever. That didn't change who I am as a person. I'm still funny. I'm still super like lovely. I make people like feel good about themselves. Like that's more important than what the number on the scale says.
Absolutely, it does. And in order to inspire us to gain more self-worth, any tips on that? Like, what can we be doing, to really
Well,
feel that positive energy and
bunch
to,
of things that you can do to be able to like lean into that. One thing that I love to do that's really quick is tapping, just because you can actually tap through the thing that you're feeling anxious or like unworthy about, and it like processes that energy and moves it out.
Mhm.
Doing things like journaling or meditating just to kind of check in with yourself. Being around people who feel worthy.
Good.
So again,
Yeah.
it's like, who are you around? If you're around people who have low confidence and are always complaining about their body, you're not going to be like, I'm amazing. You're going to be like, yeah, you know what? I suck too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right. So, how do you measure your self-worth and then concern with other people's opinions? Got it. Okay,
Yes.
let's
And
go.
that's like the big thing of most of us are people pleasers, and we want the approval of the people around us, and we want to be the good person that everyone is happy about. Well, you're not going to make everyone around you happy ever, period. And what other people think of you is none of your business. It truly does not matter. There's going to be people who are quite rude and ruthless, and it's like not even about you. It's they're
Hmm.
so critical about themselves and so miserable in their own life that they're just projecting that onto you. But then it's also, we need to be detached from the judgment of other people, because it does not value who you are. And what other people say doesn't matter. It's, what do you believe about yourself? How do you view the world? And what kind of perspective do you choose to take about the world around you? That is what actually matters. So again, your self-worth does not increase if someone praises you. And it does not increase if you feel like you're good because you did all the things and you took care of everyone else. If you're never practicing self-care and you're always making sure everyone else is good, you're going to be resentful. You're going to be exhausted. You're not going to have any sort of energy to actually enjoy yourself. And it's like nobody's winning because then now you're tired and crusty. And then where did that just get you?
Yeah, that's true. You're right. All right, we have to look deeper into that one as well. Now, concerning other people, right, their opinions and keeping them out of sight. It's easier said than done, but we could do it. And you say the expectation of doing it all, right?
Yep.
Sometimes you, yeah.
Just drop it. Just drop it. And like, I like to take the perspective of, would you have like any judgment for another person to get all that done? And I mean, like, you're superhuman. Like, I don't understand how many hours you have in a day, how you still look good, and you have like 2 children that look healthy and clean. Like, I'm like, I can barely keep
Yeah.
up with my dog.
Because
Okay.
you can't see the inside of my home. That's why I should post pictures of that. But yeah, it's just clutter
The
everywhere.
only
But
thing that's clear right now is what's behind me.
all
Okay.
right,
Like, you
good.
have
All
no
right, good.
idea what is
Good,
happening
good.
on the
Even
other
my
side.
desk here, I got like papers. I got like, oh wait, I
Same.
got this. oh, here's it's just like clutter. I don't
So
need all
does
this
that
stuff.
determine your worth though?
No, but it makes me feel, oh, I'm like, why are these business cards all sitting here on the desk? Like what? Like
And just have like a box, shove them in there and move it to the side, deal with it later. But like, I do always take like maybe 5 to 10 minutes to like kind of run through my home, just kind of like pile and like kind of put things together. So in the morning when I wake up, I'm not like, ha, it's just kind of like, oh, well, there it is, whatever.
yeah, I don't do dishes in the sink at night. That
Oh
bothers
yeah.
me. So at least
Nope.
it gives
Same
me,
here.
okay.
But
Sorry, where
you
were we?
cannot do it all. You
Mhm.
can't.
You
You
can't.
cannot. And like, I feel like, especially as women, we have these outrageous expectations of ourselves that are like superhuman and not possible. You cannot do it all. You don't have to do it all. And it's like, go down to the like nitty gritty of like, does this matter? No. Can I delegate it? Yes. Perfect.
Yeah.
And it's like, who cares? It actually doesn't matter. And it's like, even if you think about it, if you're going to be like looking at your deathbed, did that matter? No,
No.
no. Like we put so much meaning and expectation on ourselves that it's like impossible for us to even feel joy because we just feel overwhelmed because that's all we experience.
Yeah. And resistance to change and expansion, though, that also
Yeah.
gets
And it's like
nowhere.
really,
Should.
and also about the expectations, think about, does it make me feel good? Does it serve me? And if the answer is no, don't do it. Like it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
No, it doesn't. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm taking this more personally
Yeah.
today than at
No,
most.
I love
But
it. I'm here.
well, she's here to help everyone, but she's got me thinking today because those of you may on the podcast may not know we're live on Zoom as well. So I get to see her, see her reactions, and see catching myself like, oh, I'm thinking too much. Oh, my head's out. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Good.
Because
It's all
that
good.
clutter
That's
has
why
me foggy and my ears are clogged. So it's all right. Go
it's
ahead.
a
What's
thing.
next?
No, 100%. The other thing would be resistance to change and expansion. And this is just like a human characteristic that we don't want change and we don't want things to be different because different means it's uncertain and it's not in our current realm of what our reality is. So anything different is unsafe, which is not true. For me to make another $20,000 a year, that's not unsafe. That's fantastic. Please and thank you. Give it to me. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. Oh, can I handle it? What if I mess it up? Not true. So anything that is new is going to make us, in terms of our ego, feel nervous and then put up kind of like, oh, hold on, slow down. But everything is always changing. We just have to accept it. And the way I like to look at it is you're either going to be swimming with the waves or into the waves. And sure, it's kind of fun sometimes to swim into the waves and like splash and have fun. But after a while, you get tired and it sucks. So please just go with the waves because things are changing. And sometimes with our mind, we just have this like limited idea of how things could and should be. But if you allow yourself to go with the natural flow of the universe, you might be taken somewhere you would have never expected, and it can be significantly better than anticipated, and you can get there with more ease. So don't get so fixated and allow yourself to think outside the box. And I mean, like one thing that I always do when I'm frustrated or something has really triggered me is I just like ask to see it another way. And I'm like, literally, I'm like, universe, this sucks. Like I'm really cranky, but please let me see this another way. And it gives you this opportunity to even just a tiny bit pivot. And then it's like, oh, wait, there is some light there. As opposed to you have like your cone on and
The
you're staring
blinders
at the
on.
front,
Yep.
you know? So just be open to seeing it from a different angle. And you might have something work in much better like ways than you would have ever anticipated.
Got it. And what about those of us who make unrealistic goals?
I mean, it's most of
How do
us,
we? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
So there is a difference between having ridiculous goals, because I feel like, especially when I was still nursing, my goals for my business sounded outrageous and ridiculous, especially for like some of my fellow nurses who were like, what? You're going to make more money doing what? Energy
Mhm.
work? You're nuts. And I was just like, no, this is a goal.
No.
I believe in it. I'm doing it. It is what it is. But then sometimes we have these goals that we don't even want. It's like, you got to have the big house, white picket fence. You got to have the 2 kids. You got to have the dog. You got to have the husband, and you got to like, this is what you got to do. And this is the timeline. If you don't have it, you're failing. So it's like, did you even actually want that?
Yeah.
But then the other thing is it an unrealistic goal? Like for some people to buy a home, like right now, Toronto is wild.
Mhm.
Like it is impossible to buy a physical like home in downtown Toronto or even in like the GTA. Like it is like well over 1 million, and the bidding wars are
Crazy.
going over 800,000. Like
Where are
I
people
don't have an
getting the
extra
money
eight
from? I'm
hundred
like,
thousand.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
Like who has that as like a pocket change just in case? Like then your budget would be different. Like it's just like
It's
wild.
crazy. I
So for
know.
some people to be like, if I don't get a house within the next year, I'm a complete failure as a human and an adult. It's like,
Mhm.
no, it's slightly impossible right now to buy a home in Toronto. So it's like, do you actually want the goal and does that serve you? And it's like, what is the root behind it and underneath it? So there's a lot of people who are like, okay, I got to become a lawyer or I got to become a doctor, and that's what I'm going to do. And like, it's important. Did you actually want to become a lawyer, or do you
What
just
was
want to
it?
feel respected and powerful?
Mhm.
Because you could
You have the
technically,
title. Yep.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like, and then you get there and then you're like, oh shit, I hate being a lawyer and this sucks. And I just spent like all of my 20s being in school and had this monumental amount of debt. And now I'm going to work a job I don't like. So it's
Yep.
like, why? What
Mhm.
is your why? Why do you want that? And it's just like, check in with yourself as opposed to just like run, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. It's your goal or whether it's even aligned.
You froze for 1 second. I was
Oh
like,
no. Am I back?
I
Am I
got
back?
you. You're back.
Okay,
You're
good.
back. You said and aligned. I got the end of it.
Yeah,
Good.
perfect. Just alignment is the final thing you need to get.
All right. So how can people really dive deeper into aligning into their own joy, would you say?
Well, for me personally, it was when I started working with somebody with a Reiki master and a life coach, because on my own, I was just so caught in that hamster wheel like loop that I couldn't get anywhere. So I've actually created this 8-week program where we dive into the different parts of joy and the different parts that you may not be feeling joy in your life. And this is going to be an 8-week group coaching program. It's on Sunday evenings. It is recorded, so if you can't come live, it's always going to, you can catch the replay, but it's going through the different things that might prevent you from feeling the joy. So it's like making peace with your past, present, and your future. A lot of people are really stuck in the past, and then it's not allowing them to move forward, or they're so nervous about the future that they forget about where they're at and what's actually working. So it's like learning to make peace, but also having that trust that everything's working out while having a lot of gratitude. So that's one of them. The
Awesome. Go
next one
ahead. What
is
else?
feeling good in your home and your surroundings. So it goes into the decluttering yet again. I'm so sorry. It's like, that's like what's going to be like, oh God, I have to
That's the
declutter.
theme. I know. I know.
It is, there is a theme, but it's like, do you feel good where you live? And like, do you feel safe there? And it's like, how are your surroundings and what could you tweak to make it feel better? And then getting a little bit deeper of like, do you like your career? Like, do you like what you're doing? Do you feel like you're living your purpose? Do you feel good about money? Slash, do you feel like you're properly being compensated for what you do? Because it all needs to align. You could be making a lot of money and hate your job, but then it's like you could also kind of love your job, but then like you're not making the money, so you're struggling, and then you're not living the life you want. It's like you can do both at the same time. Then diving into things like your body. Do you like your physical body? Do you feel confident in your body? How do you feel when you look in the mirror? And it's like, do you feel healthy? There's people who have constant headaches. That was me when I was nursing. Always had a headache, always had brain fog, always was bloated, always had problems with my digestion. And then I just accepted it to be my norm. But then really was like, my body was like, hey, I hate this. Can you stop? And I was like, more coffee, keep going. And it's like your body talks to you. And it's like just get caught in our mind, and our body's just this thing that moves us around the world, but we don't actually be like, hey, where's that like shoulder pain or like that jaw pain coming from? And then this is an opportunity for you to really, really check in and make sure it's feeling good. Next thing is feeling connected with the people around you. So your community, your family, your other relationships. And this is like a big one on like boundaries, saying no, choosing who you're hanging out with, making sure that it's aligned and it's actually serving you. And then diving deeper into partnerships. So it's like, do you feel worthy to be loved? Do you feel safe to be in a romantic relationship? And making peace with the times that maybe didn't go so well, and knowing that your past does not determine your future. Then feeling in tune with the universe and connecting with your intuition. And then the last week is feeling worthy to have it all. A lot of my clients are like, okay, well, if my love life is great, then my career is going to just go downhill. Or like my career is really great, which means I don't have a social life. Oh, I finally got pregnant, but then it's like, now something's wrong here. And it's like, no.
We can have all. We can have. Okay.
Yes. But it's like, do you feel worthy of having it all? And do you have a core belief that you can have it all? And then it's like, there's always that like root something of like how you're holding on to how life is, which sometimes is not true. You can change it, reprogram it, reset it, so you can have it all, enjoy it, as opposed to now being like, oh my God, what's going to happen? My life feels good, so something needs to go wrong. Not true. Your life can be great and keep getting better because you're worthy of that, period. And joy.
And end of it. Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. Wow. So we can't have it all. We have to just, you always think if you excel on the job, well, then the home's going to suffer or this is going to suffer. So setting limits. A lot of us set limiting beliefs, which are a huge issue. And I know you help people overcome those because we all have them.
We do. And the thing is, most of our limiting beliefs, you don't even know that they're limiting beliefs. You just think that that is how life is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I personally would never in a million years be where I am right now if I didn't have someone from the outside being like, where did you get that belief from? That actually doesn't make sense. And then when you actually say it out loud, you're like, yeah, I'm a little cray. That did not make sense. And how have I let that rule my life for the last like 3 decades? And it's like, if you don't get that opportunity to really check in, and it's like, even like self-worth, no one has ever been like, how do you feel about your self-worth? I'm like, I don't know. How do you measure self-worth? And it's like, if you don't actually stop to reflect on those questions, then you're just going to be on this autopilot. And if you don't check in with your thoughts, those thoughts are just on replay. And if they're crappy thoughts, you're going to bring down your energy. You're exhausted. You have a headache. You're miserable. And that shouldn't be our baseline. It can be better. So take 8 weeks to reset that and actually claim what you want and love the life you're living.
And that's what's included in the sessions. Could you explain to me what's happening? I know there's weekly meetings. There's a whole process for what you're offering.
So it's Sunday evenings, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're always recorded. Sessions are 75-minute long. So every single week we'll be either doing hypnosis or the time technique. We'll end in Reiki, and I'll have the Akashic records open just for that beautiful healing energy that it can bless everything with. Mm-hmm. Every single week you get a tapping sequence according to the theme of the week. So you can actually tap through it on your own. And there's also a library of a whole bunch of different meditations. So whether you're struggling with anxiety, whether you're having a hard time sleeping, whatever it might be, there's different meditations that you can use. And then there's also an option if you want to dive a little bit deeper. I have a few spots open to do one-on-one calls, and you get 2 in the 8 weeks, so 1 per month, just to get a little extra love.
Awesome. Well, we love extra love. We love love in general. And may the other services you offer for those listeners out there may not be aware, would you mind sharing?
Absolutely. So I am a Reiki master, which means you can book a Reiki session with me. I also certify people. So it's my level 1, my level 2 in the Reiki master program. Reiki master program is actually starting March 14th, mid-March. Okay. Like, where are we? It's in February. And it's actually a mentorship. So you get the attunement. I teach you everything about becoming a Reiki master so you can attune other people. Then you also have a 3-month mentorship with me where I dive into things like the energy of your business, of making money, of running a heart-centered empire. And to get to essentially what I've created, I want to show you all the tips and tricks I wish I had in the beginning. So
And
it's all there.
are you still friends with some of those people that kind of doubted your career path change? Have they?
Some of them are my clients now.
Oh, interesting. So cool.
It's
All
actually
right.
very funny. And it's like, you never know. And like, no judgment. Like, I get it.
But,
Like
mhm.
my dreams did not make sense to me either. And my ego was screaming. My family did not agree with it. A lot of
But-
people were like, I hope it works for you, but I don't see how it will. But then now it's like, could you tell me more?
Great. See, isn't that amazing how
Yeah.
minds can change? You got to be open to
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
You never know. So, and I mean, I also do life coaching. So if you want to work with me independently, just one-on-one, I have a 3-month program. I have a 4-week program. I literally have something for anyone and everyone. So reach out.
Awesome. The Urban Healer, tell us your website again.
It's theurbanhealer.ca, CA because I'm in Canada, but I am international. So it doesn't matter where you are. We'll work together. And you can also find me on Instagram at the.urban.healer. I have a whole bunch of free content, and I'll actually be putting up some tapping sequences every week
Oh, cool.
according to these themes. So even if you're not in the program, you can get the tapping sequences for free.
Great. Thank you so much, Timea.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.